Hi, my name is Meg Boyd, and I picked to talk about today the attribution theory. So, the attribution theory seeks to understand just such explanations and excuses, particularly when applied to success or failure. So, one of the most important aspects is implicit theories or mindsets to explain the success or failures. To me, this was kind of confusing, and I had to really read over this in the book multiple times. Excuse me. So, the theory's greatest importance for education, in which success and failure are recurrent themes. So, things that are happening in the classroom daily or multiple times, repeatedly. So, explanations for success or failure. So, one might be whether the cause is seen as internal or external. So, something bothering the child internally, or is something in the classroom disturbing them. Um, Number two, whether it is seen as stable or unstable. Or three, whether it is perceived as controllable. So, a central assumption, people will attempt to maintain a positive self-image. So, when I read this, I was a little confused, so I had to keep reading and find an example. So, when people do well on an activity, they attribute their success to themselves, whereas when people do poorly on an activity, they attribute their failure on factors of which they had no control over. In particular, those students who experience failure try to protect their self-image with their peers. After I read that, I could immediately understand, not only from personal experience of when I was in school because I hated to be embarrassed, but watching my students now and how they react. If they do well in an activity, they automatically are going to say that it was all because of something that they did. Whereas if they do poorly on an activity, they usually try to blame it on something in the classroom that was bothering them, disturbing them, or blame it on me, or anything really that they can think of that could have been a cause for their failure. So, some explanations. There's 4 explanations of success and failure. They are ability, effort, task difficulty, and luck. So, ability and effort attributions are internal to the individual. So, the student's ability and the effort that they put into their work or situation is internal, whereas task difficulty and luck are external. So, ability is taken to be stable and unchangeable. Effort can be altered, which we see every day in the classroom. Task difficulty is essentially a stable characteristic, and luck is unstable and uncontrollable, which we all could agree with that. So, the locus of control. This is a main part of the attribution theory, so I'm going to talk about it for a while. The internal locus believes that success or failure is the result of his or her own efforts and abilities. So this is often referred to as self-efficiency, which would be the belief that one's behavior makes a difference. And the opposite would be external locus, believes that other factors, such as how difficult the test was, how lucky they were guessing, or other people around them, cause their own success or failure. So it's important in explaining a student's school performance to explain the locus of control. For example, research shows that students are high in internal locus have better grades and test scores than students who are low in internal locus. So again, internal locus would believe that success or failure is from their own efforts and abilities. So the locus of control is also the second best predictor of a student's academic achievement. So it's very important. Also, the locus of control can change and depend somewhat on the specific situation. So, one difficulty of studying locus of control achievement is that achievement plays a strong role on locus of control. So, as we read earlier, it changes, which means obviously, if depending on the scenario, it could be different. So, the results would be different. If you find a sport that you're good at, and previously weren't good at any sport, the locus of control could have changed from external locus to a control of internal locus. So just different things. As we grow older, we sometimes get better at things that we weren't good at. This would be a scenario. So again, the attribution theory is important in helping you understand how students might interpret and use feedback with great motivational strategies. The mindset experiments add a great deal to the claims of the attribution theory because it suggests the positive relationship between effort and